48% have rejected Obama. This is not a landslide. This is nothing like LBJ defeating Goldwater. This is nothing like Nixon defeating McGovern. It's nothing like Reagan defeating Carter. Nothing like Reagan defeating Mondale. In those cases, the losers came out with 2, 3, 4, 5 states. This is nothing like that. This is an evenly divided country. Notice that there is no debate in the hysterical, controlled Wall Street media. No debate at all about the mandate. Well, there is no mandate. There's no mandate for Obama to do anything. First of all, because if we add in the Acorn and related vote fraud, right, remembering that this time around, in sharp contrast to 2000 and 2004, the ruling class, the finance oligarchs, have decreed that the vote fraud machines will be geared up in favor of the Democrat. This is, of course, the oligarchical consensus in favor of Obama, Obama being the candidate of the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberger Group, the Rand Corporation, the Chicago School of Economics, the Skull and Bones people, and the foundations, above all, the foundations. They have decreed that this time around vote fraud is in favor of Obama, clearly. There's also the media hysteria, the unprecedented corruption of the various Wall Street media whores, falling all over themselves with their fawning adulation, never daring to question the utopian and messianic rhetoric of the new Messiah. But even in the face of all of this, almost half have rejected Obama, and I think if we had an honest vote count, which we're unlikely to ever get, we'd find that it's, if not 50-50, it might even be 51-49 against Obama. Some of these states, of course, were very, very close. Wherever it was that close, you'd have to look into Acorn vote fraud. But since McCain has cravenly capitulated, we're very, very unlikely to ever get accurate vote counts in those areas. So the first thing we have to remember is Obama is not a legitimate president. There is no legitimacy here. He is another tenant of the White House. It's unfortunate. For the past 8 years, we've had a tenant of the White House. We got another tenant of the White House. We do not have a constitutionally legitimized presidency. One of the reasons for this is the questions about Obama's birth and citizenship have never been answered. We should obviously keep raising the demand in order to underline his illegitimacy, if nothing else, that Obama has to show the full, detailed vault copy of his birth certificate. We demand to see it. It's not enough to assure us that he was born in this or that hospital in Hawaii. There are very credible, detailed reports that he was born in Kenya. He is a citizen of Kenya, and after that he transferred his citizenship to Indonesia. He apparently never became an American citizen. So we've now got an illegal alien in the White House. Historical models come to mind. In France, it was a Corsican. In Germany, it was an Austrian. And now in the U.S., it seems to be a Kenyan. So maybe we're following in those footsteps. Let's hope not. Let's mobilize to stop it.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones program. I'm Webster Tarpley here in Washington, D.C., sitting in for Alex this afternoon. Just looking ahead now, we've got to mobilize what amounts to an united front against fascism. We'll find a better name for that as time goes on. It will grow out of the mobilization itself, I'm sure. Obama's not legitimate. He's a usurper. He's a new tenant of the White House. He has not produced his detailed birth certificate. We don't know who he is. We don't know what his name is. We don't know where he's from. McCain has let us down, obviously. McCain needed to talk about the citizenship issue. McCain needed to call attention to the efforts of Philip J. Berg of Philadelphia at the Supreme Court. I was there with him last Thursday afternoon when the paperwork went in to Justice Souter of the Supreme Court. That was disallowed then on the late afternoon of the Monday of this week before the election. This issue remains open as long as we have the colorable claim of a illegal alien in the White House. This issue remains open, and it's a perfectly legitimate constitutional issue. What's the big objection to Bush and Cheney? They trample on the Constitution. Let's start respecting the Constitution. And, of course, if you want to get your hand on the thermonuclear button, which is what Obama is now approaching, we get to know everything about you. We get to know every detail of your life. There's no such thing as a private sphere. The other question that McCain let us down on are the Larry Sinclair allegations. The question of, what Larry Sinclair has talked about, encounters in November of 1999 with Obama indulging in crack cocaine. Those are the charges that were made, and therefore this also has got to be dealt with. McCain has let us down. Most of all, perhaps, McCain forfeited his moral claim to the presidency when he voted in favor of the infamous $700 billion bailout for Wall Street derivatives. McCain needed to separate himself from Bush. What better way to do it than to reject, with a spectacular gesture, the bankrupt bailout policy? He could have said no to that, and with Obama voting for it, McCain could then have pointed out that all of Obama's promises about middle-class tax cuts and health care that will never be realized because Obama has given away $700 billion with his vote in the Senate before he ever gets to the White House. So this is simply not going to happen. If we want to look ahead, though, let's look ahead through the transition period. We may have, economic crisis obviously coming back during the transition. We're going to have possible confrontations starting quite soon. But the 100 days will then be the big push. They'll try to have the fairness doctrine, institutionalize these militias, have new bailouts, impose cap and trade, new free trade systems, loot Social Security, and at the same time the foreign policy establishment will move towards confrontation with Russia. New false flag events are not ruled out simply because those are now possible once again once we have the beatific personality of Obama to come forward and say the bomb went off, country X did it, therefore we are going to be at war with country X. Bush and Cheney had long since lost that capability. There are a lot of people in the ruling elite who think that with Obama they've got it back. They may try it. Let's us be ready to undercut that kind of nonsense. The question of a new 9/11 comes back on the table from the moment that they've got Obama in the White House to talk about this stuff. Otherwise, we can go back to the Carter model. I've written about this in Obama, the Postmodern Coup. There's a good 30 or 40-page history of the Carter regime. It was catastrophic. It was made up of members of the Trilateral Commission. Carter immediately got into trouble with Congress, and I think Obama will too, even though Carter, of course, had big Democratic majorities in the way that Obama does. When you run as the savior and the anointed one, you're not asking for a mandate for any specific set of policies. What is Obama's program? Well, it's to be the savior. What is Obama's base? It's personality cultists for Obama. There's no issue really involved, hope and change. The problem with that is then once you get into power and you actually have to make concrete decisions, every time you make one, you're turning off half or a third or a very large proportion of your base. Obama has served as a screen for the projection of the fantasies and wishes of a whole bunch of left liberal lemmings and other people in the population. That will rapidly come to an end once he gets into the White House, if he does, and has to make these decisions. So that will be a problem. There's also the megalomania inherent in Obama. The guy is an egomaniac. His habitual position is looking down his nose at the rest of the world. He is an elitist. He's an oligarch. He's a typical product of the foundation-funded overclass. So that is not going to make for good relations with various people in the Congress. So we can look at Carter. Carter peaked in terms of his popularity at the end of his 100 days, and after that, Carter went down, down, down. And within 12 months after the 100 days were over, Carter had lost 25 points in the polls. He was an unpopular president by the spring of 1978, and he never regained his popularity except for a kind of rally around the flag when the hostages in Iran were taken, which was, of course, one of the operations of the Carter administration itself. So the 100 days, we've got to get through the 100 days, try to block some of this legislation. Look around for institutional support in that. 48, 49% of the American people reject Obama. There still is a Republican Party. There's still a significant group of Republican senators